we have spotted a water monitor lizard. Very exciting, and I think we got it right on time just before it goes back into the mound. Now I'm a little bit concerned that it's going to go and hide and then we won't be able to see it. Now let me just move a little bit back because she or it, I'm not too sure if it's a boy or a girl, might just my head. Sorry, Senzo, do you want me to stay here? Okay, seems like you've moved around. Sorry, I got so excited I forgot about the position of my head. How beautiful is this monitor lizard? I think it blends in so well with all of the environment around. I've never seen one that's so chilled, that's happy for us to be right next to it. For a moment there, I was pretty sure that it was going to head and dash straight into the termite mound. They can be found inside of termite mounds because it's where they prefer to go to save themselves from the outside world, and then we're feeling a little bit shy. Provide home for so many creatures. I actually think we should thank them a little bit more. Now there would be an amazing quantity of tunnels and chambers inside of this termite mound, or in this part of the funnels of the termite mound, and that's perhaps where it wants to go. Or maybe there is something in there that you would like to eat. Ooh. Watching you disappear. There we go. Now it's amazing how it didn't look that big, but there we go. Entire monitor lizard disappeared. Almost looks like a snake now. Huh. Just a little bit of the tail on the outside. We know you're still there. Last little bit went all the way in. Now I want to try and go a little bit forward, because I imagine if it went head in first, that very likely there's a chamber in where it could turn around. If he wants to come out, it can either go the same way, or perhaps it would come out either on one of the tunnels. Now I'm going to approach a little bit, see if perhaps we can see anything from here, because I don't want to disturb it, but perhaps we'll be something from here. Now I want to try and stand up, but it looks very deep, so I can't really see it anymore. No wonder we don't see them all that often. They just have to go into the sides of the road and they have their home. Now it does seem, judging by, I don't know, Senzo, if you can see the droppings just on the left. Those are made by mongoose. So I wonder if perhaps it's not actually going in there because the mongoose are not around, so they're sharing homes. And now that the mongoose are not in there, well, this belongs to the monitor lizard. I suppose we can call him Rocky. That sounds like an appropriate name for a monitor lizard. Seems like the Lioness is up and going again, so let's go and have a look.
Well, she is up and going. She's just coming to drink. So sorry, guys, we're just going through a very thick patch because we positioned ourselves absolutely perfectly, and then she had a situation where she kind of went behind us and decided that the smaller waterhole is where she wanted to drink. So off of the waterhole for Ferg. So, oh no, it's not working. There you go, Ferg. That's what you're going to deal with, I'm afraid. So that's the best that I can do for now, which hopefully is going to be good enough for Fergus in the long run. Fergus, is that okay?
Okay.
Is it okay? Or not?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Considering where she parked us, I suppose I can a little bit more to the right so we can get her eyes. Hold on, Fergus. Just go a little bit more to the right. Just wanted to just get the light on Fergus's side, because it's always better when you've got a little bit of light action. That helps with what's going on. But she's now turned her face completely away from us. Like I say, we had positioned ourselves because she was walking to the other side of the dam, and then all of a sudden she decided she's going to now move and come and sit here rather than actually position herself correctly, as we had discussed the waterhole. So that's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you just don't get it right, and you have a situation where the lioness does what she wants to do. Shame, my girl. Well, at least she had a good drink, I'm glad. But it shows you just how perceptive cats are, where they would rather drink from, very nice Fergus, nice reflection, from a small little wallow than a big dam like this. So she saw that wallow and she thought, no, I'm not going anywhere near that. There's far too many things that lurk in big dams, and I'd rather drink from a smallish puddle. Right, carry on towards the south. I think she's going to go all the way. I think she's going to end up maybe even going into Little Gowrie. I don't know. It's a long way, but she's walking it. Right, well, appears behind the mound and I try and kind of catch up with her. It sends you back across to Ali, who's just arrived at Chitwa Dam.
We have, and it just seems there's a lot of life at Chitwa Dam as usual. Lots of little things moving out and about, and then I think our favorite little thing that just as we arrived, and I think we're going to have to be a little bit patient until we see it again, it's the little goslings of the Egyptian goose, the little killer whales, because they do look like little killer whales, and it is quite hilarious. It's such a small and fluffy thing, could resemble one of the ocean's biggest predators. Now, unfortunately, I think they're just below their parents, they're on the island in the middle of Chitwa Dam, so that's probably the reason why we cannot see it. And I am quite impressed. The last time that I was at Chitwa Dam, it was probably at the end of September, which is the end of the dry season, and it's the end of the winter time, and now we're very well into summer, what's supposed to be the summer and the rainy season, and I'm seeing certain parts of the dam exposed that I didn't see back then, even at the end of. So it is crazy to think, for example, this particular island, the last time I saw it was pretty much almost fully submerged. So it's crazy to think just how much water we're missing, even if this is supposed to be the summer season, where we're supposed to have a lot of rain. So it'll be interesting to see what the winter time brings about, or get a lot more rain. And I feel guilty now because yesterday I really didn't want to get that soaked, but we clearly need it when something as big as Chitwa Dam is looking a little bit empty. There we go. There are two young hippos that have been having a blast playing in the water, and they keep popping their heads up and down, and every time one of them will yawn, and I think what they're actually trying to do is stand above each other. They're being very cute and very well behaved. It's almost like pool time for them. Sunday pool time. There we go. It would be wonderful if we could just go film them underwater and see what's actually happening all the way down there. If they're trying to get on top of each other, if they're actually standing on top of their mothers. That would give us such a good insight into their daily lives and everything that we cannot see. Now, a little bit to the left of the hippos, just in the corner there. Yeah, perfect. There's one of my most favorite species of birds. It's the white-faced whistling ducks. And I absolutely love them because they make such a cool whistling sound. As a matter of fact, let me try and get the app so that I can play the call for you guys. Because I just love it. And it's such a big, what would you call it? A clan? Big, I can't remember the name for too many ducks. But anyway, that one in the middle there that's looking quite odd and doesn't seem like a white-faced whistling duck is definitely not one of them. That's known as a cum duck. I believe that's its new name. So it's just blending in with the crowd, but it definitely stands out. Alright, let me just type here, white-faced whistling duck. Right, let me play the call for everyone so you'll get an idea as to why I love it. There we go. You guys are actually making the call too. I can hear them in the distance. And I think part of the reason why I absolutely love the call is because there is a species of duck in Venezuela, which is where I'm from, that not only looks very much the same, they're distantly related, but they make the exact same call. So it's amazing to find sometimes that the same things that we find in South America, we find them all the way across the ocean, all the way in Africa. Never ceases to amaze me how many traits we share. There we go. The little killer whales are out and about. 4 of them. I hope that they're going to have a very good and entertaining long life. Now, they are very cute when they are small, but as they grow older, I find that they can become a little bit annoying because they never shut up, and they're actually a bit of a pest all around. So between the blacksmith lapwings and the Egyptian geese, I'm not too sure which one is more prolific all around. Kestrel Fox, you're saying that Hosanna ate a gosling not too long ago. That's true. I actually remember watching that live, and I think he was with Tristan. It was right after the TV shows, if I'm not mistaken. And I think VM managed to get it all in camera, if I'm not mistaken. It's not ideal when little things die, and I always feel sorry for them, but I suppose it's the way of the bush, and for things to carry on sustaining themselves, others unfortunately have to perish. But for now, I think let's just enjoy the fact that they are providing so much fluffy cuteness onto our Sunday afternoon. And I think let's just enjoy the fact that they're alive, waggling their little tails as little ducklings should, or goslings in this case. I love it when they start cleaning themselves. They're hilarious. Hello, fluffy things. It's almost time for you to start getting your real feathers. Now, it's very interesting. Look at the size of their feet. Definitely disproportionate, just to be able to help them swim now, because otherwise if their feet were a little bit too small or proportionate to their size, I reckon they would struggle a lot more when it came to swimming and trying to follow their parents in the water. Oh, it's cleaning time for everyone. Super cute. Now, let's see what else we can find around here. Chitwa Dam is always a place of mysteries. You just have to spend some time here, and then you'll be able to start picking out things that as soon as you arrived you couldn't pick out. Like the white-faced whistling ducks, when we arrived we didn't know that they were there until we eventually started looking. There's another hippo. Definitely not there when we arrived. I think you've been underneath. That's a very nice round bottom that you're showing us. I wonder, are you going to get out? Kathy, you're wondering if I've ever seen a hippo or lion interaction before. I have witnessed it before, and it was quite a sad one, because it was a predator that managed to bring down a hippo calf, and it was very, very sad. The mother hippo did refuse to... Oh, there's a crocodile there. Jeez, it went away. Right, the mother calf, unfortunately... the mother... stayed with the calf for quite a long time, and then he just kept coming at the lions and trying to defend them. But unfortunately, by the time the lions got a hold of it, they just finished it very quickly. So the mother coming back and to try and defend its calf didn't really help, and it was a bit of a sad interaction. Often though, if the lions come and drink water and there are hippos at the dam, you will see that the lions are very wary of actually getting water. The hippos are also will stay away from them and perhaps start displaying and just making the lions know that they're not happy with everything else that's going on. Now, I saw a crocodile swimming past a few moments ago, so I want to try and see it, because always maybe it'll come out of the water or come out into the bank, and it would always be very cool to see a big version of the monitor lizard that we just saw coming out of the water. Now, let me just try and get a little bit closer. Perhaps it's still swimming, which would also be very interesting. I love it just when you just see their nose going, and it's almost like waveless. They're so sneaky, crocodiles. Oh, there's a little black Craig running around. Yeah, you're out of home. Alright, there it is. Okay, I will duck my head this time around, Senzo, so that it's not in your way. And I think you actually for me. Hello. I wonder if this is Vlad swimming to the distance. It's amazing. I find so interesting the way they move without even... It's effortless. It doesn't seem like he's actually even trying to move, but I would love it. I know that during the winter times they used to be on top of this little island, so I'm hoping maybe it'll do the same, and perhaps it'll choose a spot and then start. Although it seems like it's getting to the edge and I see no intention of coming out. Come on. We would love to see you walking out and about. That would be so incredibly interesting. Look at that tail. Look at that tail go. Ashley, you're wondering if Chitwa is a man-made dam or a natural one. Well, it's a man-made dam. I think perhaps it's a little bit of a water hole, perhaps a natural pant in front of the Chitwa Lodge. However, it's since been expanded greatly and it's been all done by men. However, I don't think that it's a pan that is currently being pumped. It's just being sustained by the amount of rainfall that we have had during the year. Now look at that tail. I find that movement fascinating. Just, that typical cartoon movement of crocodiles where they move very, very slowly and they just manage to propel themselves. I'm gonna try and go forward because I wonder if he's not perhaps gonna try and get out on the other side of the bank. So maybe we'll be able to... look. Would be quite interesting. I've never seen it get out of the water before. A little plover. Where are you headed off? No. I think maybe you don't know what you want to do, which is even more confusing to me. Now, this predator would also prey upon the chicks of the Egyptian geese that we saw earlier on, the white-faced whistling ducks, pretty much anything. And if it's really, really brave, it might even try its luck with a hippo cap. However, hippos are normally very well guarded. Well, the little ones. So if it tried its luck with a hippo, I would call it a bit of a foolish crocodile. Look at that face. They do have something that, commands some respect when you see them. I'm surprised at the speed that he's going. I don't know if maybe he's aiming to something. We're gonna stick around with Vlad, see if he decides to come out, but while we do that, let's go from one predator to the other.
Well, finally our girl has found herself a little shady spot and is just taking a bit of a break in the long grass, and she's deserved it, I suppose, for the afternoon. She's moved a lot, she's walked, she's obviously got her tortoise that she's eaten, so it's been a tough afternoon. Probably a tough last couple of weeks, given what she seems to have endured over the little bit of those big wounds on her. Now, Katie, I believe you took some photos and compared them, and you reckon that it is one of the Styx lionesses. So, well, maybe that's it. It was settled then. Which Styx lioness, I'm not quite sure, and why she's looking the condition she also have no idea, and what she's doing all the way where she came from also astounds me. I'm not 100% sure what's going on and why she's so far north. But I suppose the Styx used to travel all that way. The Styx used to be seen regularly on Simambili, Arathusa, those areas. So I suppose anything is possible. But she found a little place to rest now. She's not far from where those buffalo and twin dams are. She's kind of slowly gathering her strength, I think, to push through and carry on there. But she's found herself a perfect spot just to relax for a bit. There goes a big yawn. So we know when they yawn like this that it means one of two things. Either she's going to get up and go again, or maybe she's going to just nap, and she thoroughly is and deserves a bit of a nap. It can't be easy to drag yourself around when you've got very limited energy. So, hopefully she's going to catch up with the rest of the pride. Hopefully they've caught a buffalo, if it is those lions that were hunting buffalo at Twin Dams, and that she can tuck in and get herself back into full fitness and out. Now, I wonder if maybe the one cub that's went missing, if that's got anything to do with these injuries. Maybe there was a little fight that ensued between some parties and she got in the middle of it, and that's why she's got a few bite marks and cut marks on her tail and on her shoulder blades. It could explain what's happened, although those shoulder blade marks, there does look like a puncture wound, particularly in the blade itself. I don't see a bone sticking out. I mean, there might be some sort of fur there, but I don't see any bone sticking out. So it looks like whatever got her good and proper on both sides. It's definitely a gaping hole there. Whether or not that's from another lion, I can't be sure. Difficult to say. I mean, it's on the back like she's been bitten there, although it doesn't look like holes from puncture wounds. It almost looks like scrapes. So I don't know what these wounds are. This definitely is healed quite nicely there. I suppose there is a nice puncture wound there, so it must have been from another lion that's caused these. You can see there, so they'll be kind of doing their thing, and that's what she will be driving her a little bit mad. I'm sure flies landing on her, and can imagine how bad it must have been before this tissue granulated together and has formed a bit more of a kind of scab over it. At one point it must have been very raw and very uncomfortable. But it's been so long since we've seen the Styx it's difficult to know that this was her, and I hadn't heard anything about the sticks being in any way compromised or wounds on them or anything like that. So, if it is one of them, what's happened to her is anyone's guess. Seems like it's been a hard summer all round for our big cats of Djuma. There's certainly no shortage of drama. And also, the other thing that's happened is almost a weird coincidence, but I know some of you were commenting on, that with the Mara being down for a little bit, and things kind of not happening there, that we were going to get less sightings of lions. And it seems as though since James bid farewell yesterday, the lions have all just come back to Djuma in a weird way. It's almost very strange. It's kind of just to reassure everybody that the lions of Djuma are still around, and they still will be present as we go forward. So hopefully they will kind of stick around, and it just shows you also how important buffalo are for our lion viewing. As soon as buffalo have arrived back, so the lions have started to become more and more visible on our area. With the lack of buffalo, it was just the lions were not going to find enough food to stay here as long as that they have in the past. But now that we've got buffalo around, these lions are going to start to spend more and more time in these areas. So good to see the lions again. It's always nice to have the biggest of the big cats on Djuma. Mary, is it true that when a lion yawns it's threatening? So no, that's completely false. A lion yawning like that has got nothing to do with threatening behavior. A threat display from a lion would be baring its teeth. It would be ears, growling, tail flicking. Those are threatening displays. Yawning is simply a way of a lioness getting more oxygen into the lungs, getting the blood to start flowing. It's often after they've been lying for long periods of time, and it allows the blood to start circulating through, and oxygen-rich blood to go into the muscles that have been slept on, and therefore stand up, they can walk a lot easier. You must remember that lions are often stiff when they stand up. The activity that they do have is often very physical. So if they're hunting things like buffalo, they do get stiff, they do get sore, and so there's these muscles get tired, and so when they yawn like that, they're just getting that oxygen-rich blood back into those muscles and prepping them for about to start. It's got nothing to do with the threat display. They are not in any way being threatening. You can see when she's yawning, if she was threatened or if there was something that was making her feel uncomfortable, she would direct it at it, and she doesn't yawn towards us. She just kind of yawns straight forward, and there certainly isn't anything in front of her that is causing her any stress. She's busy grooming herself and looking about, and so it's not a sign of any discomfort from her. It is completely natural to see cats yawn regularly. It's like if you've ever had a domestic cat at home. They yawn often, and it's just part of their daily business. It's in no way a threatening display at all. Look at that size of that paw. It is absolutely massive. Right, well, our girl seems to be having a bit of a grooming session. She's just kind of, I think, getting her strength back again and composing herself before maybe moving on. And so while we sit with her and see whether or not she decides to sleep or carry on, let's send you back across to Ali, who's still enjoying the beautiful late afternoon light.
I am enjoying it indeed. I think it's one of my favorite places in this area because there's always something happening. All you have to do is look around long enough and you'll see either the hippos popping out in the distance and laughing, or you'll see a swimming by, or the swallows flying around. So I find it definitely one of the most peaceful places all around this area. And I don't know if it happens to anyone else, but I'm normally very attracted to water, and wherever you have big expanses of water, may it be a river or a dam, and there's always something special about them. I here for hours, and I think some of the most enjoyable times that I've spent are in hides where they overlook massive dams, and you just spend enough time just to try and figure out everything that's happening. It seems like there are the swallows flying around, and our good friend the crocodile is still sitting still. Now, a group of Egyptian geese came down to the water, and maybe that's what he was looking at. Perhaps those were his intentions, trying to get one of the Egyptian geese to have a little bit of chicken for dinner. But I think the geese have survived for long for a reason, and they also know what the crocodile is up to, and they just came down to the water for a little bit and then they left. I think they could sense that something was not right, but the crocodile has moved 1 inch from where he was, and there we go. There are the geese that were just a few moments ago all the way down below. But now, oh, there's a hippo at the back. I'm sure if you heard that noise. Fellas, you're wondering if the baby crocodiles are still around at the dam. Well, I've seen them, but there's a very good chance that they're still here. And I've tried to keep an eye out for them, but I haven't been able to pick up on anything. Now, having said that, there is a branch that looks suspicious, but no, it is just a branch, not a little baby crocodile. Interesting, all the different things that are around here. Now, it would be quite wonderful if you decided to come out and just sunbathe or bask for the last little bit of the day so that we could see you walking out and just get an idea of how big you actually are when you're compared to us. But I think that probably is not going to be the case. You can see it's getting darker around certain parts of the dam, and the sun is definitely starting to sink a little bit. So it's not as shiny, and definitely not as it was when we first started. Ah, look, hippo out of the water. To the left. To the right, sorry. There we go, there's the bottom of a hippo. I want to try and see if maybe we can get onto the other side. That sneaky hippo. I'm gonna try and go around. Hopefully we'll see it, because it's always incredible big creatures out of the water. Ooh, hopefully I'm not gonna drive us into the dam. Come on. Please take your time going back in. Here we go. Ooh. Almost there. There it is. Just the last bit of the hippo. Yay. I wish we could have seen it 1 second earlier. Maybe it would have given us enough time. But hilarious that he's been, all this time that we've been out here, we didn't even notice there was a hippo on the other side of the bank, or the other side of the island, which proves that he was just very happy basking in there, and now that it's decided it's time to come in. Now it seems like there's one over there as well. Hippos are waking up. Somebody was yawning. Huh. Wondering how long do hippo calves stay with their mothers? Well, if I'm not mistaken, there's about a 3 to 4 year interval between a calf and the next one. So they'll stay with their mothers until the mothers become aggressive, and then they push them or start putting some distance in between them just to get ready for the arrival of the next calf. Now, they will not get pushed away off the area that they were born in, like it happens with most of the creatures out in nature. So they'll be allowed to stay with the same pod. The males, on the other hand, normally get chased away by the dominant male hippo in a particular area. They are allowed to stay with another pod, and dominant males will be accepting of them as long as they're funny business with the females. As soon as they start trying to mate with the females or get a little bit too cozy, then the male's not going to accept them, and he's going to start chasing them out. And the fights between hippos can be very serious. Their teeth are their tusks are very sharp, and they can inflict serious injuries on one another, potentially even to the death. So it's not all fun and games if you're a hippo. Okay, we're going to carry on scouting, see what else we can see all around Chitwa Dam. But while we do that, let's head back to Tristan and the Lioness.
Well, our Lioness is still just sitting and watching what's going on. Nice, relaxed time of it, and so are we. It's quite nice just sitting in the company of her. There's some European beaters that have been calling in the distance. There's been a little bit of a breeze that's coming up now, so it's very pleasant out here, as well as the fact that the sun is just starting to set now, and so we're getting this beautiful kind of golden tinge all around us. Oh, there we go, girl. Are you going to have fine for the afternoon? It's taken you a while. You've been walking all afternoon, so I'm surprised it took this long for her to sleep. I would have thought she would have started waking up now rather than sleeping, but you never know. Maybe she knows she's in earshot of those buffalo and she's just sitting tight now and having a bit of a rest. Lily, you're asking why does the skin look black in places? Is that from mange? So Lily, no, probably not. The places where it looks very black, particularly on the shoulder areas, is where there's scars. So that's where her skin has been cut. And then when the skin has come back together to heal, make sure that area is no longer damaged, then you find that the situation, the skin comes back black like that before the fur can sometimes grow back. And so that's just the skin color that you're seeing, and it's like if you cut yourself and you have a bit of blood, then it does dry quite dark in color. And so it's the same thing for this lioness. Those are just she's wearing at the moment, so her skin is a little lighter than that if you had to shave her, but those are from where she's been hurt, unfortunately. But you can see there's the nasty little bite wound on her back, and she scratched it just now and it leaked a whole bunch of fluid. You can actually see that her fur is now matted from liquid that came out, so there's a bit of blood that came out, some other stuff, and so it's good. That's what she needs to do. She needs to keep cleaning it, keep making sure that she kind of keeps all that stuff coming out. Really fantastic, you say. You hope she's not lonely. Well, I'm sure she's a little lonely. I'm sure she's in a situation where she wants to obviously be back with her pride. It would be far better for her condition, far better for her to find food, to find her pride again. So I'm sure she is a little lonely. But whether to stop her is anyone, it's not going to. She's going to still have that strong instinct to survive, and hopefully she will rejoin with her pride and everything will start to look a lot healthier and better for her. Like I say, I've seen lionesses in worse condition than this that have survived, so she's still got a chance. Nancy wondering if a lion can survive without a pride. I'll get it out eventually. But yes, they can. So I have seen single lionesses survive without prides. It's possible. They just have to readjust their technique. If they're very healthy, then it's a lot easier. And lioness like this, it becomes harder for her to be on her own. If she was fit and healthy, then yes, she could survive on impalas and those kind of things. But the way she is now, it's going to be very difficult for her to be as agile enough to grab those faster, fleet-footed impalas and duikers and steenboks and those kind of antelope that we see here. But most certainly lionesses can survive on their own. They are incredibly cunning creatures and adjust the targets that they go after, and things like buffalo go out the window a little bit. They're just not strong enough to go after big herds of buffalo, so they'll have to kind of rather focus on antelope species. But certainly is very possible, and there's been a number of lionesses through history and through these games that have survived by themselves for long periods of time. There was a lioness down in the Sabi Sands that I think spent more time by herself than with her pride in the Southern Pride. There was a lioness called Floppy Ear. She used to often be on her own for weeks and months and be absolutely fine, and physically probably was the biggest and strongest of the entire pride. So, on the condition that they're in when they go off on their own. But remember, a lot of them also raise cubs by themselves, and so it takes a long time to get back and forth from the pride, and sometimes it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days until they rejoin the pride with suckling cubs and those kind of things, and they have to sustain themselves then. So it is very much possible. Now, interestingly enough, while we're sitting here, I can see some rather nasty clouds developing. She's lying at the moment just above her. There is a big cumulonimbus cloud that is coming through. It's right on the horizon behind that tree, that big knobthorn that is there. So there you can see that cloud that is looking quite ominous. Now we know it's a cumulonimbus because they get this very kind of anvil shape to them, and that moving fast. It's starting to blow in towards us. It's been shifting across the horizon, and I'm pretty sure that's the one that's causing the rumblings in the distance, and somebody is getting a lot of rain from that particular cloud. Now Kirsty says to me that rain is predicted until Thursday. Well, Kirsty, I think some tonight. It looks certainly like there is a big storm on its way, and the wind has all of a sudden started to kick up a little bit, and the wind is quite cold, which is sometimes a bit of a nerve-wracking thing, because when wind gets cold after a hot day, it can often be an indication that hail is around. And so hopefully we're not going to get any hail falling down, because hail is the worst things to have out here. It absolutely strips an area of all its leaves, hammers the grass, kills birds, kills all kinds of things. So hopefully we're not going to get huge amounts of hail, and if it is hailing, hopefully it's not anywhere where we are, because, well, the damage that can get pretty nasty. So let's hope that cloud decides not to drop hail on us. It's welcome to drop lots of rain, but hail is a no-no. But our lioness, I think, finally is going to have a really deep sleep. I don't know how much she's going to move around from now, but she's probably going to have a good rest. We'll stick around with her because we close buffalo that anything could happen, especially if the buffalo moved this way. And so while we kind of be patient and see what she gets up to, let's send you back across to Ali, who's left Chitwa Dam, and I think maybe she's going to be coming back towards Djuma and the Nkuhuma Pride.
Well, almost, but before we head back to Djuma, we decided that we were going to take a road that goes or runs just behind the dam wall, just to see if perhaps maybe the stars align and Tandi is somewhere around for us to find. It would be wonderful to see her and see what she's been up to. I don't think she's been seen in the last few days, or at least I haven't heard of any news, and definitely would be her little cub. I only had a glimpse of it once, as it was following Tandi, and it was being full of nonsense, like a little firecracker. So I'm sure she's not having a very easy time with the little cub. But obviously very hard to find any tracks on the road, with the road being as hard as it is. But who knows, there's always the potential of alarm calling or guinea fowl or us just bumping into her. So why not? Maybe we'll even spot her on a marula tree somewhere. So here's to hoping, and if not, then I think we're gonna slowly start heading back onto Djuma, see what's going to happen between all those and the lions, or even go check up on the Nkuhuma Pride. I'm having a little bit of trouble forming my sentences, and I'm not too sure why. Seems like the words won't come out of me. So I'm sorry about that. Now we're heading down into the drainage line, so hopefully we'll be gremlin free around this area, because I know it tends to be a little bit tricky here, but these areas are perfect for leopards, especially if they've got tiny little hide. It doesn't seem that there's been too much activity around here, but I just want to go slowly and just make sure that we scan the area just in case. 'Cause at this point in time we can only really go from either having any creature helping us find her, like I said, in a long words, or us actually seeing her anyway. I think the last tracks that Tristan had were actually on Chitwa by One-Eyed Pan. So we're going to do a bigger loop, and we're going to head there just to see if perhaps there's anything that's worth checking upon. I did the guides earlier, and it didn't seem, well, he didn't mention anything about Tandi or any leopards for that matter, so I don't think there are any that have been found this afternoon, but who knows, maybe we'll be the one who find them. That would be wonderful. Alright, in here, I'm gonna go very slowly. Proud Cat Mama, you're asking a very interesting question, and it is, which group of you think, or do I think, are the most aggressive? Well, I'm not sure, because lions can be very fierce, and I think because they are so big, even the slightest bit of aggression on their towards anything, it's seen as a massive burst of aggression. But I've met some leopards that are also not the happiest creatures around, and they just tend to, nothing really provokes them, and they just fly off the handle and have a little bit of a fit of their own. So, interesting question. Funny enough though, I was watching one of the videos recently on the BBC about the African black-footed cat, which is a very, very small cat, very hard to see. I have never seen it, and I actually don't even know anyone that's seen this little cat. But according to this study, it is one of the most prolific cats in all of Africa. Tiny thing about this big, and it's a solitary nocturnal cat as well, as most of them are, and it almost looks like a spotty house cat, and it's beautiful. But according to this study, they are one of the, most aggressive little efficient predators that we have around. So I wonder if perhaps we could include them in there as one of the creatures. But I'm not sure. I think maybe lions will win the prize in aggression, but just because they live in groups, so we see them fighting with one another. Right, on the lion note, we're going to send you guys across to Tristan. Hopefully we'll be able to avoid the gremlins.
Well, hopefully Ali will avoid the gremlins and all will be okay. What I can tell you is that we're sitting here and I can hear those buffalo are coming. Surely they can hear them just in the distance. She popped her head up just now when there was a bit of a rumble from one of them. She doesn't seem at all interested in hunting them, because you'd have a situation where she would have probably moved towards them as soon as she heard them. But there's definitely audio of buffalo. It's not right here, and I certainly can't see anything, but it seems we are getting into a situation where maybe, just maybe, the buffalo might start approaching. They're coming, the sound is coming from that direction over there. It's quite dense and thick in that direction, so I can't see anything. Ferg, can you spot anything from there? Ferg's got a bit more height than I do, so maybe he can see something. Is there something through that side? No, it's just the... Is that a buffalo on the edge there? No, it doesn't look like it. Can you hear them though? Ferg, I'm not going crazy, am I? No. So it's like our wild dog story the other day. It's in the exact same place as well, where we couldn't find the wild dog, but definitely sounds like buffalo coming towards us. Now, I think this poor female has a very, very bad day if buffalo head in this direction. She's going to not have it easy at all, because I don't think she's capable of hunting them, and if they see her and smell her, they definitely chase her, and it's not very pleasant for her. She might find that she's going to unfortunately have to get up into a tree, which sometimes does happen if they get surrounded, but we'll see how it plays out. We've still got quite a bit of time, and it sounds like the buffalo, and when they're grazing and moving just before sunset, buffalo do cover quite a bit of ground, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm also interested to see if the Nkuhumas hear it and maybe stand up and start walking this way, because that's certainly going to throw another spanner in the works altogether. Now, I believe that who's pretty good with our lions, and it certainly often provides us with great information as to, you know, the lions and how things go, and it's always very much appreciated. Says that he's not sure Sticks Lioness. He says he's looked at the photos, not 100% sure about the eye color, that doesn't look quite right, and so who knows who this lioness is at the moment. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I've absolutely not the foggiest. It reminds me of the Sticks, but I'm not 100% sure at all. So, Crystal, you think it might be the Mbiri Lioness? Mbiri is a pride that comes out of the Manileti, and Mbiri means two. I mean, so I don't know if there was two lionesses in that pride, and that's why they got the name. But Mbiri Pride Lioness, it's possible. There's also another pride that was here a few months ago. So I'm not sure. Crystal, you say on the 13th of Feb she was seen badly injured. Do you know where those injuries were, Crystal, or did it not say or show pictures? Because it'd be interesting to know, because if it's on her back and her shoulder blade, it could very well be her. But the audio for that buffalo is starting to get stronger and stronger and stronger. I can hear them more and more and more coming in our direction. So what sounds like it's... Ferg, do you think they're coming in? Sounds like it is, don't you think? I'm just trying to scan and see them. It's difficult here because we're quite sort of surrounded by bush willows, and bush willows are quite dense and thick. It's also starting to get dark now. The sun is setting, and so it's becoming quite difficult to make out greens from. And in terms of, you know, buffalo, they often are, you know, they're quite dark in coloration. So I don't see anything for now, but we'll just keep an eye out there. I'm sure if they're going to come, they're going to direction. So that's exactly where Twin Dams is that side and through those thickets, and so hopefully they do come this way. Like I say, I mean, I don't want anything to happen to this poor girl. I don't want her to get hurt in any way, but it would be nice if she could find herself a meal, wouldn't it? I think so. I think she could find herself a little buffalo. I know a little buffalo calf has still got lots of way to go in life, and it's not ideal for a little baby to be killed, but I don't see her down a buffalo bull or a buffalo female in a herd, and so a calf is her only option if it comes to hunting. But you can see that ear is working, so even though she's sleeping, her ear is still picking up the sounds, and she'll be very aware that buffalo are heading in this direction. And I hope that she doesn't get caught unawares. I'm sure she won't be. I'm sure she'll have a situation where she'll position herself nicely. And it's crazy to think that we're in a situation where normally when we're on Djuma and we see lions, we wish for buffalo to be around, and we know that as soon as a buffalo makes a noise anywhere in the vicinity of lions, they normally go after them in this area. But things are different today, and it's almost like the hunter is becoming the hunted in a way, because these buffalo, like I say, if they see her, have a problem with her, that's for sure. The other thing that's lucky for her, though, is that the wind is coming from the buffalo towards her and not the other way around, so they're not going to smell her before they see her, which means that maybe she will escape and get out. Very nice. Ferg, some Digitera grass, so finger grass. So you're showing the wind. Well done, Fergus. It's very artistic. So wild dogs came across her, would they attack her? No. Wild dogs are petrified of lions. If they see her, they are gone in the other direction as quick as possible. So even in her weakened state, she'd be able to dispatch a wild dog. She's just physically so much bigger. and even test at all. It would almost be like that tortoise that we just saw having a very bad day. Well, in fact, I suppose that's not a very bad day. That is the worst day you could have. So certainly nowhere near a lioness. They're going to see her and run the complete opposite direction. Hyenas, very different story. Hyenas find this lioness, they will go after her and they will come at her and they will try their luck and they will sort of push her around and harass her, and she could potentially get very badly injured from hyenas. In fact, these wounds that we see here could well be from the fact that she's got bite wounds on her tail. It's often a place where hyenas do go for lions, and so it's very, very possible that that's what's happened to her. I don't know. I surmise, though, that it's more another cause this. I know in the Manyeleti, if it is one of the Mberi females, the Manyeleti has had also lots of kind of movement of lions and lots of conflict up there, so very possible that it could have been other lions or even hyenas as well. But she's very sleepy now. It's amazing. Walked through the hottest part of the day. Now that it's cool, she's lying down. I would have thought that it's cool, she would have to keep going. And I'm interested, if she's not a Styx, why is she moving in this direction? Is it because she's just been hearing the buffalo all day and she just wants to run and try and get herself a meal? Is it because she just doesn't know where else to go? I mean, it baffles me that she's walking the way she's walking. And also what is interesting with her is that she knows which way. She literally went onto every single game path that led her directly to Tristan Dam, that led her directly to sort of this point here. She's just come off a big game path that walks here, and it's the same game path the Nkuhumas use. I've seen the Styx use it, and I've seen a number of our leopards use this game path. So how she knows about it is anyone's guess. Who knows what the situation is with her and how she kind of, but maybe they're a little smarter than we are and they're far more kind of aware of their environment than what we think. Anyway, we're going to sit, hope that the buffalo make an appearance fairly short. And while we sit and wait for them, let's go back across to Ali, who's just having a little bumble in the beautiful bush.
We are having a bumble. Back to Djuma. Unfortunately, no signs whatsoever for Tandi in the roads that we checked. So I think our strategy now is going to try and sandwich those buffalo. I think Tristan is still a little bit further west and probably north of where we're going to end up if we go towards Twin Dams, and I want to see if perhaps the buffalo are just as unsettled as they were before, because I'm sure a lion somewhere around there, but I wonder if it's either the rest of the Styx that are actually hunting the buffalo down there, or if it's just the males or the two males, if Tinho, so I'm not too sure if Tinho was this afternoon, although I would assume that he was, or perhaps if it's Nsuku, the one that's after all those lions. Now, I wouldn't put it past a male lion to try and bring down buffalo. He could very easily bring down a subadult buffalo or an injured one or a younger one. And if it's the same herd that we saw the other day, definitely a few tiny little ones around, probably about the size of the one that Hosona caught. But also, I'm remembering 2 or 3 individuals that seem to struggle to walk. So perhaps those ones will be the ones that they've targeted. Now, I can see something big in the distance, but it's still quite far away. I'm not too sure if it's a car or more buffalo, but it's pretty much on our way. So we're going to carry on going that way while we enjoy this African massage of a road. But anyway, I wonder if I'm not actually even just seeing a tree and I'm imagining things. It does look like a car, doesn't it? Perhaps another game viewer all the way there, which would be great, because then they'll be able to let us know if there's happening and how the buffalo have been behaving. Now, it's always, you'll find we all become almost like vultures around big buffalo herds like that if lions are in the vicinity. The chances of the lions actually trying to follow these buffalo and hunt them are very big, especially for any pride that's got many mouths to feed, which I think is currently the case of the Styx and the Nkuhumas. Now, the Nkuhumas are a little bit further up, so I don't think it's them. But it seems like Tristan's lion is on the move, so let's see if perhaps she also decides to head towards the buffalo. Woo!
Well, there was a rustle in the bushes up ahead, and it sounded like the buffalo maybe a little closer than we thought. I can't see them, but she certainly popped her head up and started walking straight in that direction. So she's definitely heading towards where the noises are coming from. Whether or not she's going to try and hunt them, I don't know. But she's done some damage to her tail because she's licked it and groomed it so much that its blood is pouring. What beautiful sky there is on the horizon. Look at that, with the lioness walking through and those pink and blues. That is very pretty. That's something straight out of a book, really. You can't ask for a sky than that. Ominous, but pretty. That's for sure. So let's keep up with her, though, because if the buffalo are around here, we want to be quite close, because it's going to be a situation where it's going to be at close quarters battle. That's for sure. It's thick in here, and so everybody's going to get nice and close before they realize where each party is. I still don't see any buffalo. I'm scanning as much as I can. She's with intent down to that area, so I wonder if she's really considering going after a buffalo. This is quite interesting. Would have thought she would have shied away from the confrontation of a herd, but maybe hunger is driving her to try her luck. Still no buffalo that I can see. Just wanted to scan around as we go as well, just to check. Careful your head here, Ferg. Are we good? Fine, which is important. Got to make sure that the camera is always in good condition. Please don't go into this thicket, though. Guess where we're going? We're going into the place where I fell out the car and Fergus got thrown into the camera. I think let's be careful, Fergus. Let's not do that again. Imagine falling out between lions and buffalo. Yeah, let's not do that. I've seen somebody actually fall off a car twice from lions and buffalo, so it's actually that you would want to do. In fact, the one guy was saved by, one tracker was saved by his ranger when he fell out right next to a pride of lions on top of a buffalo. Luckily, they were so busy looking at the buffalo and so busy trying to eat the buffalo that they forgot completely that somebody went thump right next to them, and they kind of let it go. So it's interesting to see how that went down, but I don't think I would want a repeat performance of that anytime soon. Look, she's stopping and listening now. That's where I think the buffalo are, in this little thicket. See, look, she's definitely intent on something. I still don't see any buffalo. I can't hear them. If we were very close, we would hear them. I can't hear that at the moment. She's stopping and listening. All right, let's keep up with her. Let's see. The good thing is we're going to be on the road, so we're not going to attract too much attention to her, because buffalo are used to us being on the road, but they're not very used to us kind of bashing through the thickets. So they'll pop their heads up if we're on the thickets, but now I'm saying that I need to put my seatbelt on. Do we have a seatbelt, Fergus? Do we have a bungee cable? Put me in. Well, actually, let's not use bungee cables. Bungee cables seem to be dangerous for the crew. Who got hit in the face? James and somebody else also got hit. Did you get hit, Fergus? Cross fingers, exactly. Brent was the other one that got smacked in the head. What if I... But to admit it, that sounds just like Brent Leo Smith, just like he didn't get stuck in the Masai Mara and is not part of the Marshmallow Club. Deceit, he did get stuck. Kirsty has the photos to prove it, and we've all seen them. Hey, Kirsty. Brent Leo Smith is definitely... He is actually the founding member. He was the founding member of the Marshmallow Club, but he doesn't want to tell anybody that that's what happened, but he is. He's Lord Marshmallow. Do you think he'll like it if I call him Lord Marshmallow when he gets back? It's going to be a long time, so I'll have to remember Lord Marshmallow, but for now, I think we should call him Lord Marshmallow. It would be good. And then Taylor is Queen Marshmallow, and yes, the viewers, all of you will remind me about Lord Marshmallow and his little incident where he got... In fact, Chris, I haven't even got photos of this. Have these been shared? Did anyone actually see him get stuck and share it live? No, they haven't, have they? So I think what I'm going to do is, while you look at the lioness walking down the road, I think I'm going to try and see if I can see where Brent got stuck, because he always has a lot to say about everybody else getting stuck, but never has he shown himself being stuck. Look at this. There we go. Is that Ralph? Who's that? Now, I'm not sure who it is, but I've got to try and find Brent jacking. Yes, that is Brent jacking. So we even have a bit of video action. So, no. Brent's been stuck now. Look, she's stopping. Okay, let's get into videos about Brent getting stuck later, because this lioness is getting more and more serious. Her body posture, the way that she's moving, is that of a is watching what's going on. Now, I know she's lying on the road, but she's stopping. She was listening. She got her head much lower. There goes a scrub hare in the background. So if you're wondering whether they hunt scrub hares, there's a scrub hare moving in that direction. Let's stop right here, because this we'll be able to then see if the buffalo start making their way. Like I say, the good news for her is that the wind is blowing perfectly, because the scent of those buffalo will be drifting towards her rather than her scent sending towards the buffalo. Now, I believe Ad of the buffalo, and I'm interested to know exactly where she is, but let's send you across there so she can give us an update of just how far those buffalo are from Twin Dams.
Well, they're not too far from Twin Dams. They're in between, almost between Weaver's Nest and Twin Dams, but they're southern boundary, so some of them are actually on Djuma's side, some of them have crossed the road. You see, they're all sniffing. They seem quite relaxed. They're all eating. They don't seem to be too concerned, at least not as they were before, but every now and again, one of them just sniffing and trying to see what it is that the wind is bringing. So no doubt they can smell something is up in the air, but I don't think they consider it too much of a concern, as they all carried on doing their own thing. Now, I'm not too sure if there are actually any lions around here, but judging by the buffalo's behavior, if there are, they are definitely not aware of it. Now, we've got a bull that's giving us a bit of a stare down. We are bigger than you in this situation. Although, if we combine all the buffalo, then we're... We're not going to go anywhere, don't you worry. Just here. See some more up ahead. It's almost like they're all trying to cross the road now. So we had them running from this side of the road earlier on, and now all of the ones that we saw earlier that were all the way over there, it seems like they're starting to cross and carry on their very short migration. So it's hard for them. It's a lot of buffalo, and they've got to go to areas where there's a lot of food and where there's enough water to sustain everyone. Now, Twin Dams doesn't have that amount of water, and I think this could potentially be the same herd that we saw at Buffelshoek Dam that then went on to Sydney's Dam, and then sort of when the rain came, they split up and they didn't know if they went down to Simamili. They came back up, and then all of a sudden they're back here. Now, I think I can hear some thunder rumbling in the background, so we'll even get a little bit of rain tonight. In the meantime, though, it seems like the buffalo are enjoying trying to intimidate us. Francis, you're wondering if a buffalo would try to attack a weak lioness. Well, they certainly would. They are not tolerant to any predators around, and lions are their biggest enemy. So often if they find lions, they will try to chase. And if it's an injured lioness that for whatever reason cannot either hunt or run away from them quickly enough, then they'll become very aggressive and almost to the point that they might even kill it. Given that actually if they've got the chance, they will probably go. So it just in terms of the lioness that Tristan is with, I think she wouldn't try her luck in the middle of a buffalo herd, especially not. That would be a little bit too risky for her condition. However, if she is part of the rest of the pride, and the rest of the pride, or the sticks are here, if she actually does sticks pride, then she might try her luck. Even, for example, if one of the males were to be here, even better, because then they would have added strength onto the whole combination. But in her injured state, I don't think she would be capable of bringing any, or normally even, they're not. One lioness would struggle a lot to even bringing a buffalo down. A younger one, yes, of course, and especially some of the newborns that are around here. But like I said, they have strength in numbers, and this is quite a big herd, so I don't think it's a risk that any lions will take lightly. They normally take a very long time before they try to make their final to a buffalo herd, and I've seen them before where it might take them 3 or 4 hours, just the stalking process, to try and get to them as close or single out an individual to then to pounce on it. However, I have also seen them that a lot of the times what they'll do, especially when it comes to buffalo, is that they're will wait in a particular area. So let's say, for example, imagine that this is the imaginary field. So the lionesses will wait around here and they'll sit down with all of the youngsters, males, or by youngsters I mean older sub-adults, and then there will always be one individual or perhaps even two that will come all the way around and push all of the animals, and those buffaloes will be pretty much sandwiched in between the lions, and will try to push the buffalo towards the rest of the pride, hence giving the pride a better chance to try and in amongst all the chaos and all the buffaloes to actually bring an individual down. And it's almost like they take advantage of the chaos that they put the buffaloes through to then be able to. And I've seen it on a few occasions with lions, and just that whole going around and trying to push them onto the rest of the pride, that process could potentially even, depending on the weather conditions, the terrain, where the buffaloes are going. So it's not easy for the lions either. It's not just like, ooh, meat, I feel like I'm gonna come here and just eat it. Takes a little bit of thought. And often at this point in time when they start hunting buffalo, if there are youngsters around, many times do the youngsters actually spoil the hunt, because they're a little bit too eager and they'll either start running when they're not supposed to, or they'll give their position away, and then the pride pretty much has to start the whole process all over again. Now there's a lot going on. Very, very noisy buffalo, so I'm just going to allow you guys to hear all the munching that's going on. As we always say, if we can hear it, imagine how this sound must be traveling further away, and animals with a more keen sense of hearing, I'm sure they could pinpoint exactly where this is coming from and how far. They're all around. I wouldn't be surprised if they were also trying to come onto the road, because it's more of an open area to spend part of the night. As in, it's safer for them, they can see. Although if the rain does start, I'm sure they will also go back and seek shelter. Seems like they're also intently listening to what's going on around her, so let's go over to Tristan and find out how far away he is from the buffalo.
Well, I'm not very far at all, Ali. I can hear your buffalo, and you are just to the south of where we are. So Ali is no more than 200 meters down this road. If you look where this lioness is, there's a tall tree directly behind her in the distance there. So straight down the road there to the left, and that's basically roughly where Ali is, at one of those big tall trees on that horizon section there. So it's not far at all, and hopefully lioness is going to head there. You can see she every now and then turns her head in that direction. I think she's wondering whether the buffalo are going to come to her or if she's going to actually have to go. But isn't that a beautiful picture? I know it's kind of quite dark, but there's this beautiful color in the sky. The road itself has almost got a sort of purple tinge to it, and then the sort of blues of the oncoming and a bit of a breeze. Are you going to go flat now? Oh, girl. No hunt just yet, but I wonder if the buffalo maybe makes some more noise, if she might head this way. And also, I think it's going to turn and come back up the road for her to do anything. If they go south into Little Gowrie, of course, obviously this is all going to be very difficult for us. But we'll stay with it for a while and see what's going to happen. I mean, we've followed her all afternoon. We might as well commit and just keep going with her and see what she gets up to. I don't know to hunt these buffalo. It's more maybe just a situation that she heard them and she'd rather be in a space where she can see them coming than being caught off guard in a thicket. I mean, it's obviously a difficult thing to sort of know, but she's certainly kind of not that interested at the moment and doesn't really look like she wants to be hunting, that's for sure. If it was a lioness that wanted to hunt, she would have heard those buffalo and really would have been committed to it by now. It's a pity that in Kuma Pride we're not as close to these buffalo as what she was, because that would have definitely meant some hunting would have taken place. I wonder if she can get up and move. Seems as though she's still very quiet for now. And like I said, the wind is kind of coming from those buffaloes, so she knows they're there. I mean, she's been listening, she's been looking in the direction, so she knows the buffalo are there. I think it's just a situation where she just doesn't have the strength to hunt them. And so for now, I'm going to take it easy and just sit tight, and then let's see what happens from there. Maybe she's going to catch her breath for a little bit, and if the buffalo grunt and make some more noise, maybe she'll head in that direction again. Interesting though. It's strange that we've just got another different cat around. Heidi, good to have the buffalo back. It is. I mean, it's a huge part of the ecosystem here. And when they disappear like they did in the last year, it certainly leaves a big hole and a big gap. Oh, there's some impalas. You see them just ahead of her there, Ferg. Just on the edge of the tree line. Is that impala? Yes, it is impalas that are just coming out. That's far more soon than a buffalo, except that she's lying right in the middle of the road, and so she's got no chance to hunt those if she stays where she is. But the buffalo being back is great. It creates a whole different, obviously good for our ecosystem in that they are grazing again. They are dropping fertilizer in the form of their dung all over the place. It brings the into this area. It makes everything kind of a little bit more balanced, and so it really is good to see them. I think we're going to have another year though where we're not going to have too many buffalo in the winter. It's going to be another dry time. Sure, we're going to see too many buffalo. At this stage we're only seeing really one herd by the looks of things that keeps coming through. It doesn't look like we've got multiple different herds in the area. It looks like this individual herd that's coming, and so I don't really know how many buffalo are going to be around. I know there's a lot of buffalo to the south of us along the Crocodile River, and maybe if they exhaust their resources we might have a situation where they come up this way. That's quite cool to see the impalas in the far right. And our lioness on the left, you can see she hasn't seen them. The impalas haven't seen her. What's going to interest me is whether or not those impalas start shouting. Is that going to drive up? Is that going to make the buffalo a little bit more nervous? Bonnie, you say wake up Tristan. I'm awake. I'm with it. I spotted those impalas like a ninja. I was I know, okay, so I'm just playing around. So I know that Bonnie meant I must wake her up and get her to, but I was just playing around and having a little bit of a joke. But hopefully she does wake up, although the impalas seem as though they're far more awake to what's going on, and one is looking in this direction, although it hasn't seen her. It means that sometimes these animals like the impalas, who've got such keen eyesight, can look at a lioness lying in the middle of the road and not see her. Just because she's lying flat, they don't see her. They just don't do anything. But if that lioness was up and standing, you would have found that those impalas would have been onto her like a flash. You can see the impalas are looking in our direction, but they have no. There's a lioness lying here. It could also be the angle. So if you look from where those impalas are and you come along the road, there's a little bump in the road. This lioness is being obscured by that bump in the middle between these impalas and the lioness itself. Girl, you need to wake up. There's some food over. Not that she has much of a shot from where she is. She's so exposed at the moment that she'll never get into a bush without those impalas noticing her. And the impalas would have had to walk straight before she would have been able to grab one of them. So I don't think she's got much of a chance here. It's quite a distance even for a cheetah. This would be extreme edge of where they would start running from. Right, let's see how this lioness goes. Maybe she wakes up, maybe she sees these impalas. Hopefully the impala males start clattering their horns together and that they're here. And while we wait for that to happen, let's have a quick jump to Ali and see whether or not those buffalo are still hanging around the place.
They are still hanging around, and it almost seems like they're starting to settle for the evening. Some we've seen, so perhaps they've decided this is it. This is as good a spot as any. But the Nkuhumas are not too far, and I wouldn't be surprised that they make their way down here and start chasing the buffalo. It'll be interesting though with that lioness. I'm sure we've speculated that she does not have any connections to the Nkuhuma pride, so I'm sure they wouldn't be too happy to see a lioness that they don't know, and perhaps the males would also be a little bit confused as to who that girl could potentially be if they don't know her. So I think we've got quite a risky situation going on tonight, both for certain lions and the buffalo. Mike, you're wondering if the ears of the buffalo are torn naturally or if they get ripped from fire. Well, it's a little bit of both. They are ripped naturally and they have that general shape to them. However, you can see some of them having more ripped ears or even missing parts of because of the fighting, or even sometimes through walking in the thickets. Their ears might get tangled up in branches with thorns or spikes or so on, and that might just cause little tears here and there on their ears. But they normally look like that, all of them. Their ears are very particular. And they have a very important function in not only, well, being able to detect any potential predators, but I think they also in getting all the flies away from their face. They are quite long, especially when compared to the ears of some of the other animals, and also positioned in an area where they're not going to get horns. I must say, every time I see those bulls, I am very happy I don't have to carry that helmet around in my head the whole day. Although very useful, I'm sure after a while. Just consider how strong their necks have got to be able to carry that on a daily basis. Straight up. Very strong. Munching around us. Yes. We're going to switch onto IR. So if you see a change in color, that is because we've switched on the infrared lights. There's still a little bit of light, but with buffalo being diurnal animals, we're not going to show which is an additional light for us to view them. So we swapped into the IR just to try and figure out how this would look, and I think this is a light that the buffaloes cannot see, and neither can us humans, to be very honest. And it allows us just to be able to spend a little bit more time with them in the darkness, which we normally wouldn't be able to do. We're just using a spotlight, because again, as we've said, we try not to impact the experience of these animals with the vehicles, and we try not to influence their behavior. So should we be shining at them at night, it's almost like we're blinding them, and that might give them a little bit of the lower hand if lions do come around. John, you're wondering if they all sleep standing up. No, they will normally just lay down, perhaps not lay with their heads on the ground, but they do almost sit, and then they can sleep like that for hours and ages hours, not ages, at a time. So this particular herd is actually settling in now for the night, and although they won't sleep the whole night, you'll see that some of them will actually wake up in the middle of the night and have a bit of a feeding bout, and very early most of them will definitely lie down to sleep. And it's almost like you see this massive ocean of buffalo. You see this naughty one here, sons? This one's scratching his horns against the pole. Because, what's the difference between a pole and a tree? And those horns become very, very itchy, no doubt. And this pole is presenting the best opportunity for her to scratch them. Now, just like this buffalo is doing, elephants often come and do the same with the poles, to the point that they end up knocking down some of the poles or fences that there might be around. So it becomes a little bit of a problem when they start preferring certain poles. I think although this lady is very well behaved and she's just scratching her head. Oh, she's got a massive tear in her ear. You see that one there? That is definitely caused either by her thing or just something tearing her ear. Good scratch. And she's got lots of ticks all around her that she's trying to get rid of. It's almost like she's fighting the pole. Must be very itchy. Now, are you going to proceed with the rest of your body? So this is the same routine that they do when they come out of the water and they're all muddy. They just do exactly the same. It's a little bit easier sometimes to get rid of the ticks because the ticks will get trapped in the mud. And if we were to go and see the mud after they've moved off, then perhaps we could even see some of the ticks that are trapped in there. Scratchy. Seems like she might get bullied out of her pole to scratch, but while we wait for this action to happen, let's head back to Tristan, Lioness from the north.
Well, the lioness has been spotted, I think, because this has been shouting and snorting away, and our lioness has not cared in the slightest. There you go, you can hear her snorting, or him snorting, should I say. It's not a her. I'm sorry, boy. I do. But she's not really too phased. She lifted her head slightly, looked at the impala, and then flopped back down again. So, not too worried. The thing is, though, alarm calls like this could very attract the Nkuhuma pride, and that's the last thing that this lioness needs. If she's already had a run-in with other lions, which it sounds like she is from the Mbiri pride, so a few of you have checked photos and blogs and various things about this Mbiri pride female that got hurt, and it sounds like this is her. So I believe some 90% sure that it is her, which is good news. And so the last thing she needs is to be able to run into another pride. She really away from other lions as much as possible, and coming this far south is very interesting. I don't think the Mberi pride has been seen in the Sabi Sands, has it? I'm not sure. I don't even know. It's the first time that I've heard of them into Djuma and the time that I've been in the northern Sabi Sands, so I'm not sure if anybody else has ever heard of them being seen. I just spoke to Rexon about it now because he asked me on the radio to get out who it was, because he wasn't sure when he came into the sighting, and I told him Mberi pride, and he said he's not seen those lionesses before. So I don't think they have been in the area, and if they have, they've been confused with other lionesses, that's for sure. I would like to know a little bit more about the Mberi pride, so if anybody's got information about it, #SafariLive. How many lionesses in the pride? What's the story? What kind of led to her being on the southern boundary of Djuma at this time, and what's their usual haunt? Do they have southern Manuality, and what their kind of story is? I would like to know. It's always interesting just to gather some information about these prides. I'm sure many of you do have lots to say, and Mberi means two, so I would imagine that it came from a time when there must have just been two lionesses. That's what I would think is the situation. And so I don't know, maybe some of you can give me a bit of a shout as to what exactly happened and how it all played out as to why she's here. So Aiden, who's 6 years old, Aiden, I like the way you think, and I could do what you're asking to do, but unfortunately I'm fresh out of cheeseburgers to leave her tonight. I don't have any. Fergus ate them all this afternoon. Fergus a bit of a glut in the back, and so Fergus ate all of the cheeseburgers that we packed for lunch today. Fergus, why did you eat all the cheeseburgers? There's a lioness that's no, so Aiden, unfortunately a cheeseburger wouldn't be actually very good for her. The bun and the cheese is not good, but if we did have for her, that would not be good as well, because it would be interfering in nature. Now what interfering means, Aiden, is it means that we are changing the way that nature is going and playing out, and the system that we're in here is a very large one, and it's big, and there's lots of animals here, and so what the decision is that the animals need to live by themselves as nature. So we are trying not to influence what goes on, which means we're trying not to change how the animals react. And even though this lioness is very, if we feed her something, we would have had to have killed another animal, which is not fair on that animal to be able to feed her, and we don't know if she's going to be able to come back herself. You never know. She might go tonight, Aiden, and she might be getting all the food she needs, and that buffalo was a sick, weak buffalo that needed to be removed from the system because it wasn't able to handle proper nature. The animals that die and that are killed are animals that are not strong enough to survive, and it's important that those animals die, because the strongest animals must survive for the species or the type of animal that they are to go forward in, and to be able to be stronger and better and to be able to survive for longer periods. So us feeding would be unfair on the animal that we had to kill to feed her, and also would be unfair on the system itself, because then if I feed her, why am I not going to go and feed Skinny or a impala that died that we saw this morning that was being eaten by vultures? So just because it's a lion, we can't go and feed her. We need to try and apply a rule to all of them, to treat the animals that if we've hurt them as people, then we try and look after them, but if we haven't hurt them as people and it's something that has happened in the natural world, so another lion or hyenas, then she has to try and survive from that. And if she's strong enough to survive from that, then she's got really good genes. Whole lion world is going to benefit, because she's going to be passing on these very strong genes that she has by having little cubs maybe after she recovers from this. So it's important that we don't interfere too much and we don't try and change what goes on. But I like the cheeseburger idea, and like I say, if my naughty friend Fergus didn't eat them all, we might have considered it.
She could have a impala burger between two bunnies.
Impala burger between two bunnies. Yes, I suppose that would be pretty good. I'm sure she wouldn't mind two bunnies on top of an impala, or on the bottom and top of an impala. I'm sure she would get them down quite quickly. Tortoise burger, she already tried. The shell was a bit crunchy. Do we call it is it maybe a tortoise nacho? tortoise. Yes, tortoise nacho maybe. Right. Anyway, we're going to sit here with her while she's got her head up and kind of facing down the road. And while we do that, let's send you back across to Ali. And I wonder if Ali's not close to Janet Jackson's hole, that she might have a little look. Janet Jackson is home.
That is actually a very good idea, Tristan. We can go through Janet Jackson's hole in a little while, but now at the behavior of these two buffalo. They're acting quite civil now, but at one point they were on top of each other and it seemed like the one was giving like stomach tickles. I think it's from a very proper scientific point, very likely there's some sort of dominance issue going on, and the one on top is clearly trying to show its strength to the one at the bottom. At one point it's almost like it was trying to get on top of it, or just, and then it started horning him in the stomach. It was quite a strange thing to witness. To us it almost seemed like they wanted to cuddle, and it was very funny. Now I'm hoping they'll do it again so that they're locking horns now. Alright, maybe it's spinning it down. Maybe that's what actually happened. They are locked now. You see that? Oh, it's almost like they're wrestling. They would definitely be wrestling. Okay, business is on. I'm tired of you. Now what? I think the fight is pretty much finished. It's all fun and games until somebody's horn gets... There we go again. Not done. Okay. It was definitely serious. I feel a little bit sorry on the left because he was just settling to have a good night's sleep, and the one on the right is just like, the day is not finished. We still have matters to sort. And the one at the back is just eating and ruminating like, what are these guys doing? Honestly, I'm just gonna eat popcorn and not be bothered. Oh, that's good. Christine, you say you lions calling in the dam cam. Well, they were not too far from the dam cam, so they left them all the way on Nyala Road South, which is still a bit of a distance from where we are, but you would definitely be able to hear them from the dam cam. Now, from where I'm sitting, I don't hear anything. I actually don't even hear. No, I just hear buffalo. That's really the only thing that I can hear, but cannot hear any buffalo from here. There we go. Ruminating in style. It's almost like they need to lock those. Such a mechanic movement. You can see the teeth, this very wet nose, and then the tongue. Come on, carry on. So you see there, it's using the tongue and it's moving the tongue a little bit just to also try and the grass before it starts swallowing the grass, and then regurgitating and start all over again. Interesting. That was a view. I think Senso's gotten quite creative with the shots of the buffalo. I think we've had some very good of them tonight. In the dark, during the day. It's been wonderful. Yeah. I think tomorrow this would be the best start checking. I'm sure the lions are going to head this way. Hopefully if they do chase the buffalo, they won't carry on chasing them south. They'll be able to back up north, as we would like to see them from our side. I, however, wish you, buffalo, a very pleasant night. Hopefully you will not be that stressed. Now it seems like the lions are not gonna start making their way all afternoon trying to piece all together as to who the mystery lioness was, where the Nkahumans had gone, and what the buffaloes had been up to. Hopefully tomorrow will be as entertaining, and we promise to come to find out what's been happening throughout the night. See you guys tomorrow morning.